All right, everybody, welcome to another video. It's been, again, I have, frankly, no rhyme or reason as to how or why I choose to record videos and when I record them. This is literally just a fun outlet for me because I do a lot of social media marketing for my business, which I love. Don't get me wrong. I do love being a business owner, but I feel like when you're being creative and it's meant, and I have a decaf coffee, don't worry, it's afternoon. I feel like when your creativity it gets funneled into something that is now your livelihood, it can kind of take, I don't know, some of the flow out of it. And so I like to maintain creative outlets that have absolutely jack all to do with my business. And so one thing that I've really loved lately and kind of gotten into over the last year and that I've always sort of loved, I just never had like a great way to express this passion of mine is beautiful things. I love crocheting, so that's a very cozy type of hobby. I love doing I love knitting. I love obviously making music, and I love tattoos. Like I love things that are aesthetic. But I also love things that are tactile because for me, I think, I don't know why, but maybe it's an ADHD thing. I don't know. If somebody knows, let me know. I love things that are tactile. And one thing that I used to love when I was a kid that I've really allowed myself and permitted myself to get into as an adult is stationery and notebooks. And for a long time, I was like, oh, there's no reason. No, why would you do this? You have to carry stuff around. There's so many digital things and apps and things like that nowadays. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But for me, there really is no way to truly replicate the joy that I get out of like a really good notebook setup. And I like the fact that I've now given myself permission to switch up modalities from a notebook perspective with a series of undated notebooks, blank journals, things like that. I do have one archive notebook that I use, and it's this B6 notebook from Paper Test Designs. And I will hop in and out of this, but right now I'm not currently using it, but I am keeping it like updated. So like I've been backfilling, here's this week and then the week before. Now, what's kind of fun about this one is it has a bunch of blank pages in each week. I don't stress out about that. I just want to make sure I want to keep a log. I want to have at least one place where my whole year has been documented. But I also have a lot of notebooks for a lot of other things. Like I have a journal, I have reading notebooks, and I'll do a flip through of my reading notebooks eventually at some point. But what I want to show you today is I have been using this A5 Rings. I recently just set it up as a novel notebook. Now I did have everything set up. First, I started using Scrivener, which was great, and it is great. And I do plan to still kind of use that to, I think, house like the final information of my novel that I'm writing. But then I switched into a happy planner because I saw Heart Breathings was using a happy planner and I liked it. But because this novel is a personal project and not a work project, it's not time sensitive, it's just something that I do for fun once or twice a week, that I will also have weeks where I don't get to do it. And I think I needed to move into something that had a little more flexibility. Not that a happy planner doesn't have flexibility, but I got like a dated planner and a dated notebook, and the happy planner was just big. Not that this is not big, because frankly, when they're kind of next to each other, they're about the same size, but like the paper itself, I want to be able to like take out a piece of paper, take out the paper that I need, and then like set it next to me and then like stuff it back in the notebook. And this A5 Rings from Moterm just kind of scratched the itch. Now, it's definitely a lot more storage wise than I would ever need, but I am super, super enjoying this. So I took some stuff out of my Happy Planner notebook and like created some sort of dashboards here. I just have some affirmations cards. I cut this out of one of the Happy Planner things. Here, I'm migrating a lot of the papers from the Happy Planner into the inserts that I created. But one thing I love about this Luxe Rings is that it has this flyleaf with a second pen loop, and I'm a 2 pen loop kind of girl always. I have my sticky notes here, again, a few more dashboards, and so this is just the first part of my notebook, and then we're going to get into like sort of the meat and potatoes. So this is how I have it set up. So the very beginning of this is my calendar, because I do like to keep track of what I'm doing and when I'm doing, so I can get an overview. So here I have my word count base, what day and month where I am with my word count for this year, just so I can track my progress. And I just have a couple in here because I don't know if I like this setup, and I just printed a few. These inserts are all from Infinite Lotus. And then I have my monthly layout. Now the month I did undated, and I just have like, here are my big goals for the month. Here's my priorities. Here's my events coming up. So like if I don't do any writing during this week that I'm in Dallas, that's okay. I probably won't take this with me. I'll be with friends. And then here's my month. Now I'm not really using this to plan ahead, more so log it when I do it so I can get an overview of how I did that month. And I did undated because let's say I have a lot of stuff going on in July. I don't want to have to do it in July. Now I love these inserts from Infinite Lotus because they have accomplishments, this month's rating, lessons learned, improvements for next month. It also has like I'm grateful for and memories, which I'll probably leave blank, but I like to be reflective. That's part of the joy of journaling for me, is just being reflective. And then I have my weeks. Now I thought I purchased undated, but I did not. I purchased dated. So if I have some blank weeks when it comes down to it, it's fine. Now I did print this on HP 24-pound paper. So this was last week when I got it up. Planner materials arrived, notebook setup day. And then my priorities were to set up the planner and then start transferring some of my notes out of the Happy Planner papers into this. Now what's interesting about this A5 notebook is, and what I did with this 24-pound paper is I actually just scored it with a pencil so I can pop things in and out, because again, I like to be able to move things around when it comes to my notebook planning, is that it's not truly a half letter, it's an A5. So these are a little bit longer. You can see they kind of go down to here, but I just print it and then chop the paper in half. So I cut it as a half letter, but I punch it obviously as an A5, and I don't care that it's a little bit taller. Like I'm not about to start trying to make it super fussy. Now, here's what I did for this week. So I wanted to have at least 3 sessions where I worked in this notebook. And my goals for this week were to migrate Act 2. So I have my Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, like plot points mapped out and written out. And part of the reason why I like doing this on paper instead of in like Scrivener is like, as I'm writing, I sometimes have to make adjustments, or I want to like compare, or like I have something where like I did something in Act 1 and I need to make a note in Act 3 to like follow up on this. And I just like to scribble that down. And that's hard to keep organized in like typing it out. So, and then I wanted to start my Act 2, which I did, and I just didn't check it off, but I'll do that later. I wanted to edit Act 1 and then re-outline Act 3. And so this is what I did. So I wanted to intended writing days based on my schedule this week. What are the days that I think I'm going to be able to work on my book for 30 minutes, an hour, whatever I feel like fitting in. And then I'm putting a little star next to the days that I'm actually writing. So like I didn't write on Monday, but I did make some time on Tuesday. And I've been actually taking this with me when I go to work at the coffee shop or the co-work space, because if I'm really struggling with my productivity, my ADHD has really been struggling this last week and a half. I will sometimes give myself a little dopamine boost by like doing something fun and creative in here. So I work in here for 30 minutes, an hour, and then I go back to work. And that really helps me. I feel like we always, people are like, oh, should you reward yourself after your work is done? And it's like, well, what if I want to reward myself while I'm working? Like, why am I going to deprive my brain of the dopamine it needs to continue to be productive if I can just, I'd rather like spend 20 minutes doing something fun and creative rather than spend an hour hemming and hawing and trying to get one task done that should have taken me 20 minutes, but because I was fighting with myself, trying to stay focused rather than just following the dopamine, I'm much more productive when I follow the dopamine. I know that seems kind of counterintuitive, but if you have ADHD, I promise you it's worth trying. Find ways to sprinkle in dopamine throughout your day so that way you're able to be more productive. So giving myself time to do this is great. So I've already got 2 sessions down this week, which is super nice. I love this weekly layout, again, Infinite Lotus, because it's a vertical weekly. And you guys know how I love my horizontal weekly. I love a week stacked this way. I do it in all my bullet journals. I do it like that. anytime I need to do a weekly layout, this is what I follow. And that's how my Paper Test Designs annual archive is too, where it's got, this is the start of each layout. And I love this just as an overview. And so this did go through June through December, but what I will do is when I repurchase, I'm going to purchase some undated weeklies because I know I'm not going to write every single week. And I don't want to have like a completely empty week, if that makes sense for this. So, but this was an oopsie. I meant to purchase undated, but I accidentally purchased the dated 2023 inserts. So I'll use them since I have them. Didn't realize it until I printed it and I was like, oh shit. Well, there we go. And so that's how I'm doing the week for right now. I'm just scheduling when I anticipate writing after I look at my week ahead, how many sessions I want to write, and like what is my focus for this week. And then I have here and it just some reference for the world, and then also for my plot points, just so I can come and back revisit if I feel like I'm getting stuck, kind of revisit like what I'm doing in a 3-act structure. Then here is just notes. These are just plain notes pages again, Infinite Lotus Design, where I can kind of do my brain dump. They're not meant for anything specific. I just got just plain grid note paper. And then we get into my character sheets, which I haven't finished migrating all of these yet. I wanted to get the writing done because I'm actually still kind of like, as I'm writing, I'm learning more about my characters. And so I'm still fleshing some things out, but these are just like mood boards. I'm going to have to like migrate some of this stuff that I wrote out about some of my characters. And then those are in there. Again, I'm going to finish migrating these and then flush out some more stuff about some of my more prominent characters as I get to know them more as I'm writing again. And I don't know if that's how you're supposed to do it, but that's just how you're supposed to do it. Now, here is my act 1, act 2, act 3 in the back of the notebook here. Now, here's my words per chapter currently in act 1 as of like March, which was really the last time I did like a lot of big blocks of writing instead of just working on this character development or doing this here. I need to add a chapter here, which I have some notes on in my document. And then I need to actually either split up or expand on a couple of these chapters, which after I wrote like the basic structure of act 1, I was like, all right, time to go back and add some more stuff in, because as I'm reading through this, there's clearly some things missing. I've never written a novel before. This is a totally new experience for me, but it's definitely fun. And then I have my plot points. So I actually got these Cornell Notes type of papers for my act plot points. And the reason I like them is because I can write like scene 1, blah, 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 or consider this, blah, 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 blah. And it's going to help in my brain. It works. And then if I have any additional notes or thoughts, I can just pop them down here. But like the bulk of it is going to be written in this space. And so I have one of these pages for each plot point of my novel, which is super, super fun. And so like, for example, let me see if I can find one. So there's act 1, act 2 is behind this tabby, and then act 3 is behind this tabby. So I just have act 1, act 2, which I actually need to move that ahead because that's behind. And then I just have like extra dividers in here for whatever reason. But like here's, for example, like my midpoint, and then I have some additional notes down here, things like that. And again, all this needs to get transferred. And then I don't have anything back here because I really don't need this for anything functional. This is just a novel planner. And so I have my mild liner here. Hey, I have a mild liner in, this is copper. And what's fun is this actually like perfectly matches the burnt orange Moterm, which is super fun. And then I have a TWSBI Eco in extra fine, inked with just some Pelikan black ink. I had some Diatramentus Archive ink also, but I wanted to try the Pelikan ink to see which one I liked better on this 24-pound paper, because I prefer writing with fountain pens when I can. But I am going to try some different just black inks to see what works here. But like, I love this pen for this notebook because it just feels more romantic to write with a fountain pen. That's why I use one in everyday life, as well as why I wanted one dedicated to this novel planner here. So that's it. I just wanted to do this quick short and sweet video. I don't have a ton of time to record today. I've got a music student coming in for 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, she's coming for her lesson. And then my students are going on summer break after this week's lessons, and I won't see them again until August because it's just everyone's traveling. It's just a good time to take a summer break. And so we pause the studio for a little bit. So that's my novel planner. I will maybe come back and do just a little bit more information on this. I'm very excited because I think I found there's an author that I recently discovered, and she's very chill, very down to earth. And I just picked up a couple of her books, and I adore her and her writing. And I just realized that she also does editing services. And so I'm really excited because this has been such a fun, like, passion project of mine. But I also want to learn, like, part of the thing that I like to do when I pursue a new hobby is I like to learn and get feedback and discover new things. So I'm very much excited. So who knows? Who knows where this passion project will lead, but I'm very excited I feel like my brain and creativity can breathe now that I have this set up the way that it is. And I just wanted to show it because literally I'm just here to do whatever the heck I want. So that is it, you guys. Thanks for being here today. I'll catch you next time.